the story begins like this. There are two characters introduced, and they are both generals of King Duncan's. The first one is Macbeth.
Macbeth.
And the other one is Banquo.
Banquo.
They are both triumphant because they have just defeated all of their enemies. And in one of their quests, they stumble upon 3 witches.
Oh.
Yeah. And that's not the only thing. The witches start telling them prophecies. So the witches say thank you. The witches say, first, Macbeth is going to become king one day. And Macbeth is like,
nice.
but then the witches say, but Banquo's blood will also be king's blood one day. And Banquo is like,
oh, nice. Yeah.
then he was alright. But Macbeth was really enthusiastic about it. He was psyched. He was, I'm the king. So when he tells his wife about this, his wife goes, what are you doing? Stop wasting time. Do it already. That's what she says to him.
Stop wasting time and take the throne to you. Okay.
So Macbeth is convinced by his wife, so they both create a plan to murder King Duncan in his sleep and then place the blame on the king's 2 chamberlains who were passed out after drinking too much booze. So Macbeth actually goes to the king's bedroom and murders him. And King Duncan dies. But Macbeth is devastated.
Oh my god, what happened?
He just murdered the king. So his wife steps up and grabs the bloody knife and places it as evidence.
Oh, I'm gonna place this as evidence.
Yes, and places the knife on the 2 chamberlains. Later, Macbeth actually shows up and murders the 2 chamberlains. Oh, no, don't kill me!
Oh, no, I'm dead.
Okay, so after these events, the king, who was now dead, of course, had 2 sons. And these 2 guys, they were freaking out. They murdered my father, they're gonna murder me, so they both flee the place, they leave. And Macbeth takes the crown almost too easily and becomes the new king. So Macbeth was the new king. However, he was paranoid about it. Can you guess what? As the witches previously said, Banquo's blood was also gonna be king someday. So Macbeth actually sent a couple of assassins to get Banquo and his son as well. So no competition.
No,
Banquo,
no, don't kill me.
So Banquo dies. He dies, but his son Fleance manages to escape, but Banquo is absolutely dead. So going back to Macbeth, he actually goes back to where the witches were, and the witches have new prophecies for him. First, a vision of an armored head tells Macbeth to watch for Macduff, who's coming after him.
That Macduff.
Then, a vision of a bloody child tells him that no man who was born of a woman could ever kill him.
I'm invisible now.
And a third vision tells him that he's gonna lose when trees approach his castle.
Trees don't work.
They don't. So, Macbeth is like, no, but nothing's gonna happen to me. This is very unlikely. And so this and that. So later, word comes that Macduff has actually joined forces with one of the king's son, Malcolm, and they're going for him, and they're gonna take the throne from him. And when Macbeth hears this, he goes crazy, and he sends assassins to kill Macduff's whole family. He kills his wife, his children, and burns down his castle. It's really crazy. He goes crazy on this. So, yeah. So eventually, later, Lady Macbeth is full of guilt. She can't deal with what she has done.
Oh, I can take the blood on my hands. Why haven't done? Oh my God, I kill myself.
And she kills herself. So when Macbeth sees this, he freaks out. He goes nuts and becomes depressed.
Oh, I'm going nuts, I'm becoming depressed.
So, even though this happened, he still had to prepare to face his enemies, so he did.
But I'm still gonna defeat my enemies.
Yes. So, at first, Macbeth wasn't preoccupied about Macduff coming for him because of the prophecies, but when he actually saw Malcolm's and Macduff's soldiers sieging the castle, he realized that the shields the soldiers were carrying were made of the same wood that the witches warned him about. So he was like, oh, indeed. So a battle occurs, and Macbeth starts to lose, and then goes to the ground to meet Macduff for a final battle. And then they have a sword fight. And Macbeth is like, you can kill me.
Yeah, sure, I can. You were born from a woman.
But what happened is that Macduff had actually a C-section when he was born. So he wasn't technically from a woman.
Guess what, baby? C-section.
So they fight out of north. They have a battle, and Macbeth actually loses the battle and falls to the ground. And Macduff beheads him.
Oh, I'm beheaded.
And Macbeth dies on the spot. So, with Macduff defeating Macbeth, he gets the crown back to Malcolm, and then that's the end of the story. I was Malcolm the whole time. No, I wasn't.